All right, good day. This is Justin Pineda, and for today, we'll be demonstrating part three of our scanning series. So, in the first two videos, we did some of the scanning tasks here. So, the first one is to set up Metasploitable and get the IP address. And then the second, we set up nmap and check the different commands using the cheat sheet. So we did some probes, basic port scans, and then we did fingerprinting, right? And then the third task is to explore nmap commands targeting Metasploitable. So we tried to understand the different services that are running. We did version scan, and then we tried to explicitly input um, range of ports to see if we'll be able to get more information, right? And then we also did mapping of findings to the CVE MITRE database manually, right, based on the findings that we have um, discovered. So for this session, we'll be setting up Nessus Essentials and initiate both unauthenticated and authenticated scans. And the second is to generate PDF report in Nessus, right? And hopefully we'll be able to interpret some of the results. Right? Okay, so let's go to um, we're still going to be using Metasploitable. So this is it. Um, the IP is 192.168.92.128. So let's just check if it is alive. So this is the interface in the browser level, right? Okay, and then the first thing that I would like to show you is the Nessus Essentials. No, so I'm not working for Tenable. I don't sell Nessus stuff, but I've been using Nessus for couple of years already. And it's very useful, and it complements your scanning activities with nmap and other scanning tools. But of course, in at work, I use the paid and professional version. But for today, because we're going to use this for academic purposes, we'll be using the free version called Nessus Essentials. Now this Nessus Essentials allows you to scan your environment up to 16 IP addresses per scanner. Okay, and then it also has like an on-demand course for you to be familiarized with the Tenable or the Nessus features, right? So you can register, so you can download this. So I'll just explain what happens. So you sign up here, you just put your first name, last name, and then a business email. So if you're a student, you can use your school email to get the activation code. So once you click, so I will not repeat the installation process anymore, but just click get started here, and it will automatically download the executable installer file, right? And then you run it, assuming you have admin privileges, right? And so on. You will be able to successfully install it. Now, once you install it, it will automatically prompt you with with the log information and other configuration details in the browser. So it will look something like this. So I will just sign out. So you will it will automatically redirect you here. So since you installed it in your own machine, right? You will access it in localhost colon 8834. So the port number for Nessus is 8834. All right. And then so we talk about types of ports in the previous video. So port 8834 is actually a registered port, so pertaining to Nessus, right? So you will set up your credentials in um, the web console. Now I already did mine, and then I use admin. So if you're asked for an activation code again, you go to your business email, your school email, and you will see your activation code there, and then paste it, and then you'll be able to log in. All right. So our goal for today is again to set up Nessus, which we already did, and initiate an authenticated and authenticated scan. So let's log in. So what's the difference when we say unauthenticated scan? This normal scan, no? Wherein you have your target IP, but when you say unauthenticated, you don't know any credentials. Okay, meaning you don't know any username and password of the target. So with that, you're relying with available resources outside, or meaning without the need for logging in, okay, to check the vulnerabilities that are available in the surface. Okay, so if there are any exploitable, any vulnerabilities, without the need for username and password. That's unauthenticated. And then the second one is of course authenticated. So if you know username and password, you can log it in, and then um, it can traverse to different directories and through the different applications and check whether there are vulnerabilities inside. Okay, so both are essential for you to have an idea what are the vulnerabilities coming from the perspective of an external threat actor, and um, coming from internal, no, if you have all the access rights. So to start a scan, you just click here, new scan. So if you would notice, I have already um, conducted a number of scans, but we can repeat it again. Okay, just by clicking new scan here. Now, there are different types of scans. So you have your host discovery here, similar to a probe or a ping sweep in Nmap. And then there are scans under vulnerabilities. So you have basic scan, network scan, advanced dynamic scan. So there are um, uh, descriptions available, so you can check which one is suitable for you. Okay, and then there are some advanced scans that require an upgrade. So like Nessus, you need to have Nessus Pro, right? But again, we're doing a quick demo here, so Essentials is good. That Nessus Essentials is good. So here we can use um, the basic network scan. So a full system scan suitable for any host. So let's check it out. All right. So the required here is required fields here would be the name and the target, of course. Right, your target host, or target IP. So we can put here the IP of Metasploitable. Right. So here we did a target here, and then for the name, so you're free to choose the name, right? But as a best practice, it has to be descriptive. You can be able to associate or identify the asset very easily. That's the goal, no? So what I usually do is I put on the name of the server, sometimes the IP, right? And then I put on the type of scan, basic network scan, and whether it is authenticated or authenticated. So I put unauthenticated. So this is the first scan that we're going to do. And then the date, October 22, 2023. Right. So in the targets, you can choose one or more. You can put a range. You can put a domain name. You can put a subnet, and it can automatically be understood by Nessus, and it will initiate the scan. Okay, but for this sample, we'll just be targeting Metasploitable too. Right. So to launch the scan, you can on the save button. There's a drop down here. Okay, you just click the drop down and click launch, and then it will launch here. All right, so it will start the scan. Now, um, just a side note here in this particular scan, because I'm using a host machine. I have an antivirus present. So what I did was I disabled I disabled the antivirus just for a couple of minutes, because the antivirus will block the scan, right? So just take note. Although the antivirus will provide you with pop-up information saying they block this and that, so for you to skip those, otherwise the results um won't be accurate, right? Because there are a lot of items blocked. All right. So you will see here that the scan has already started. You will see that if there is a circle here, it means it's running. You can click, and then you would see vulnerabilities, critical, high, and informational. Right. And you would see the percentage completion here, right, which is 4%. And then we see the vulnerabilities here. So you have your NFS exported share, information disclosure, right? Samba bad luck vulnerability, and so on and so forth. All right. Okay. Now, let quickly while this is running now, let's check the um, severity ratings. Now, so we have critical, high, medium, low, and informational. So what do these severity ratings mean? So when we say informational, obviously it's information. It gives you information about the target. No? Like you would see here, the version of the Samba. You have more of the info about the target. So it's not really a vulnerability found, right? So it will check if it is alive, if it has this, that, etc. Okay, so nothing to worry about informational, the blue one. Now let's go to the low. Okay, the low is the yellow one. This yellow, okay, low means usually when we see this, the the comment here, the description is it's a security best practice. So meaning based on textbooks, okay, this is the best way of implementing it. Like you have to disable a certain function, okay, because it's the best practice. Okay, but it's optional for you to fix, because it does not constitute an exploitable vulnerability. Okay, so it's saying you can do this because it's the best practice. Maybe strict, maybe it may be very strict or very conservative because this is security. But up to you. You can um, you can follow it or not, because there is no related exploits. Next is medium. Okay, the orange one. So medium means let's see if there are medium findings here. Let's see the mixed one. We have medium, ISC, bind, denial of service, right? So what does this mean? So when we say medium, okay, so it means that there might be there might be a compromise if persistent attempts are successful. So meaning you if you do it repeatedly, it may lead to compromise. Compromise of what? Compromise of confidentiality, integrity, availability. Right? So yeah, usually we give a time frame for server teams to fix this type of vulnerability. Okay, because you need to do a lot of persistent attempts. Okay. Now, when we say hi, what does it mean? When we say hi, the hi means there is either a compromise. Okay, meaning this particular vulnerability, okay, will compromise confidentiality, integrity, availability. No need for persistent attempts. The vulnerability itself will lead to direct compromise. Right? How about critical? The dark red. There's a dark red here. So based on the critical one, um, the critical one is similar to high. There is a direct compromise on CIA or confidentiality, integrity, availability. But the difference is a critical vulnerability is remotely um, can be remotely initiated. Okay, so you can do the exploit even if you're not in the same network, even if you're at home, the target is somewhere in the cloud or a specific private ip, you can successfully launch the attack. Okay, so it's remote remotely exploitable. Okay, so um, that is the difference, no? All right, so I think we're still in the 7%. It's a bit, it might take some time because we're going to exhaust um, a number of signatures here. Okay. Now, so now I'll show you what it looks like if you're going to. So we see a lot of critical here with its corresponding CVSS scores. All right. Now you can do parallel scans, meaning you can initiate another scan here while there is an existing scan happening. So just to show you what it looks like to do um, an authenticated scan. So let's put a username and a password, because we know that. So here we can set the name again, Metasploitable, um, basic network scan. This time it's authenticated, right? And then we put the date again. It's important to put the date because you are tracking the progress. So if you do the rescan again, right, you can just change the date and you will compare whether there are improvements. And we put the IP here again. Put the IP. So now that we've put the IP, we go to the credentials tab here. So in the credentials, we can check whether it's an API gateway, database, host, all right, miscellaneous, plain text authentication, etc., etc. So we here, okay, we stick to host category, and then there are two types. Now, so if it's a host category, you can log in through SSH, okay, or through Windows. Now, we know that the Metasploitable is using Linux, so therefore we'll be using SSH. All right. Okay, so if you're using SSH, you can choose the authentication method. Okay, so the authentication method is you can be a public key. So usually you generate a key. So you just upload the key, and then you'll be able to access the resource, um, which is safer. But we don't have that, so we only know the password, right? So it's unsafe, but yeah, because it's really intentionally vulnerable, so we can put the credentials, and we know the credentials, right? Because it's given. Okay, so the credential is MSF admin, and the password is MSF admin again. I elevate privileges with nothing because it's the admin, right? It's the same, no? So it's the super user, right? So you can put that, and then just put the credentials in, and then go to the save button, put click the drop down, and then click launch, and then it will launch, right? So yeah, it can happen at the same time. So let's open the authenticated scan here. No vulnerabilities found. Let's go to the unauthenticated scan. Okay, it's already 98% done. So you would see here the number of vulnerabilities: critical 12, high 7, medium 24, low 7, and informational 126. All right, so you would see it here. Now, what do you think would be the difference? How many, which type of scan do you think will get more results? The authenticated or unauthenticated scan? Yeah, obviously the one with the more results would be the authenticated scan, because you have username and password. Once you're able to successfully log in, you will be able to traverse different directories and identify different files and scan each of these files, and you can do a lot of validation and checks, right? So that's the difference, no? So you will get more. So yeah, in the interest of time, let's compare, no? Because I already did the same scan, the authenticated scan here. Okay, and at the regular unauthenticated scan, this one, right, a couple of days ago, right? So let's see the results, the final result. So this would be the final result. So because it's the same server, it's the same list of signatures, we did that to any update, so it will yield the same result. So let's open the network scan unauthenticated. So here you will see 13 vulnerabilities: critical, 7 high, 25 medium, 8 low, and 133 informational. For the unauthenticated scan, meaning I don't have the um, username and the password. Okay. So we go back to the scans here. Let's now check. So from unauthenticated 13.7.25, we go here to the authenticated scan. So when we go to the authenticated scan, so from 13, you would see 33 critical, 95 high. So you would see that there are way more vulnerabilities when you do the authenticated scan. 140 medium, 17 low, and 179 informational. All right. So when we go to the vulnerability list, you would see NFS exported share, information disclosure, Unix operating system unsupported version. So when you click here, it will tell you the description. So I don't know everything about about the vulnerabilities. I have to Google some of them. Some of them I know, like the VNC. I know VNC is used for remote access, but for some that I do not know, I will have to check, and understand what it means. Okay, and then later on use it to gain access in the next step. Okay, so an attacker may be able to leverage this to read and possibly write files on remote host. So configure NFS on the remote host so that only authorized host can mount its remote share. So these are the contents. All right, and then Yeah, it's vulnerable to bind shell backdoor, a bash remote code execution. So you have a lot of critical vulnerabilities here. All right. Now, what you want to do, because if you're going to generate a report here, okay, you can click on report. Okay, you can choose the type of report, complete list of vulnerabilities by host. You can choose detailed vulnerabilities. Okay, we may want to choose this because it's detailed. All right, or detailed vulnerabilities by plugin or vulnerability operations. Okay, but since we only targeted one host, we can choose detailed vulnerabilities by host. Okay, then generate the report. You can just choose whether you want HTML, PDF, or CSV, and then generate the report. Okay, so it will generate the report, and then it will download. It's still generating. Just wait for it. All right, it's here. So it will tell you that it's used the Metasploitable network scan authenticated, report generated by Nessus, Tuesday, and then these are the hosts now. So 33 critical, 95 high, 140 medium, 117 low, 179 information. And then you can see, so it's vulnerable to log4j. It's very relatively new, uh, relatively new vulnerability. Right? It's also vulnerable to log4j, Apache, so on and so forth. So you can check this one by one. So you as a tester, you will check the critical ones because these are the ones with bigger impact to the engagement. So you may want to check the critical vulnerabilities, right? And at the same time, plan, okay, and see which of these attacks you can leverage. So based on the vulnerabilities, which ones you can leverage for your next step or steps, which would be gaining access and maintaining access. So that is the manual validation in your VAPT. So what we want to do, right, is to make sure that out of this, because you have so many findings, 33, 95 plus 140 plus 17 and then 179, we want to make sure that the relevant ones are presented to the stakeholders. So because usually some of these are not applicable, some are very old, some are not relevant, some are false positive. So we have to be able to filter out the real ones and provide proof of concept, provide um, the steps on how to exploit it, because that's what we want to show them, because the server team or the application team or the other teams um, would ask for proofs, no? And will challenge the results of the scans. That's why we don't end in scans. We move to the manual validation, to the gaining access, to injecting payloads, and so on. All right. So there, no. So let's go back to the summary, okay, of our task. So for the scanning task for this particular session, we're able to set up Nessus Essentials, and we're able to initiate both authenticated and unauthenticated scans. Okay, and then we're able to generate a Nessus PDF report and look at some of the results and determine which this can be used in our next steps. All right. So there, no. Well, thank you for listening, and then in the next videos will be moving to gaining access, check how to use some of the tools that we use to exploit the vulnerabilities that were found. All right. Okay. On to the next video. See you all.